We need to talk about the Europa League Final. Manchester United versus Tottenham, 6 days away. And as a Manchester United fan, I've been really nervous about it the last few days. I'm really nervous because both teams need this so much. I think Tottenham need it for the sense of just getting that trophy, and also helping them with the transfer window and competing for transfers. But Manchester United are an absolute financial mess, and they need that money for their transfer window, for Ruben Amorim's project. And I think it's a really interesting game to talk about because both teams have injuries. You don't know what's going to happen in a final. Tottenham have beaten Man United 3 times this season, but Man City did that last season in the league, and Man United beat Man City in the FA Cup. Does that matter? Does the injuries matter? And as someone that's watched a lot of Tottenham this season as a Manchester United fan, and I think I'm quite fair in terms of the games I've watched, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give my opinions on this. And this isn't notes, this isn't me reading a PowerPoint slide with stats and facts. This is just my raw thoughts going into the Europa League and why I'm a little bit nervous about Tottenham and a bit worried. You know, people will go, oh, lads, it's Tottenham, or it's Tottenham and the trophy. But no, I'm nervous about Tottenham because they've beat Frankfurt. They've been up for it in the Europa League. They've been good in the Europa League. I think Ange, as a knockout tournament manager, his tactics and adaptations were good versus Bodo Glimt. He's got a bit of experience over Amorim. He always wins a trophy in a second season. I am nervous. You know, I think Man United are the slight favourites going into this game. Even though Man United and Tottenham have been just as shy, I think Man United will be slight favourites because we're Man United. We've won the FA Cup, we've won the Carabao Cup, we've won trophies more recently. We've been so shy the last few years, but still won trophies. So I think that's where United are the favourites. They've been in 3 Europa League finals in the last 6 years. We won the one under Mourinho. We lost the one to Villarreal on penalties. And all I'm going to say is, this game better not go to penalties. I cannot deal with a penalty shootout in the Europa League. So it's one of those where I think United edge it as favourites, but then quality-wise, if you're doing combined 11s, more Tottenham players get into the combined 11s, all of that. But then there's the injuries. Now, Tottenham fans are saying they've got worse injuries than Manchester United, and Bergwall, Maddison, Kulusevski, your 3 best midfielders out, is bad. But Tottenham have 3 of their best starting 11 out. Man United have 5 of the best starting 11 out. Xerxes far better than Højlund. Rasmus Højlund, that means Man United have got 10 players because he's going to start. Dalot out. And Dalot out is really bad now because with Euro, De Ligt and Leach out, we could have put Managerial right centre-back. But now we can't put Managerial right centre-back. We're going to have to put him right wing-back. And it's going to be Dorgu left wing-back, Managerial right wing-back, Maguire, Lindelof, Luke Shaw centre-backs. And Luke Shaw has not been good since his return. Lindelof cost us in the Europa League before. Maguire, he's done all right, but that back line is slow. That back line is slow. But then Tottenham, Bentancur, Bissouma, Sarr midfield doesn't look good. But I'm going to say this now. Bentancur on his own, Bissouma on his own, But I do think when Bentancur and Bissouma play together, they're all right. Sarr's hit and miss. He's got good ball striking from outside the box. I feel like he could just score a worldie goal and Tottenham win 1-0. It's a weird one because both teams have injuries and injury issues, and Tottenham's probably 3 best players quality-wise are out, but they have a striker in Solanke, and they have Son, who's not had the best season but a good player. You compare Solanke to Højlund, you compare Son to Garnacho. Tottenham have that quality, and I'm worried because Man United have got no backline. Tottenham are going to have a Doggy, Porro, Van de Ven, and Romero. Tottenham have a very good record with that backline, and just wrapping them up in cotton wool. I think Tottenham, if you look at the starting lineups, despite the midfield issues, have the edge. I think they have the edge. I think if Lenny Yoro was fit and Xerxes was fit, I think United would have the edge. But I think with Lenny Yoro's injury, I think Tottenham probably have the edge in terms of the starting lineup. But the question is, you know, Manchester United, this team's won trophies before, but then Tottenham do have trophy winners in their side. There's a lot of questions about it. So we're going to have a conversation because I think United will be the slight favourites coming into it. But there's this online debate on Twitter about who the underdogs are. And I don't think anyone's underdogs. I think when you're 16th or 17th in the league and you've both had the same season and there's more Tottenham players that arguably get into Man United starting 11, I don't think Tottenham could play underdogs, but I don't think Man United can play underdogs despite losing 3 times to Tottenham this season because both teams have been as crap. But when the trophy's on the line, people would back Man United because we are a bigger club. But let's have a conversation, not just about underdogs, not just about injuries, but going into this final, Ange, Amorim, very different approaches to this final. Tottenham beating us 3 times this season. Where am I at? So as a Man United fan, what worries me about Tottenham? The back line. Højlund versus Mickey van der Moen and Romero, we're basically playing with 10 men. I'm going to tell you that now. This is when I get proved wrong and Højlund scores, which I'd absolutely love if Højlund scores a winner. I'd absolutely love that. But Højlund's going to have a 2 out of 10 performance against Mickey van der Ven and Romero. I hope I jinx it, but I just know that. Mason Mount back looking better. Is he ready to start? Can't play about more than 20 minutes at this rate. We'll see. Bruno Fernandes, will he play higher up? Will he play deeper? Would Bruno and Casemiro get outrun by Spurs in midfield? This is the question. Manchester United have particularly struggled against Premier League opposition, so have Tottenham, because of the lack of physicality. Manchester United, when they're pressed, when the games are physical, we struggle. And we've lost 3 times to Tottenham this season because you guys are better than us physically. You press us, you can outmatch us physically, and that worries me. That worries me a lot. Solanke has a very good record against Manchester United. He's back and firing and looked really good lately, and you've done well against us physically. Now, Kulusevski, who has a good record against United, is out, which is a big boost for us. But Tottenham can deal with us physically. They could press us. They could have high energy, although Kulusevski, one of your best pressers, is out. Son doesn't quite have that in him. That's the question for me. It's the physicality of Tottenham. It's Solanke getting goals. It's that your back line will be much better. And Man United, that doesn't score goals, although has in the Europa League, but we don't normally score goals, coming up against a Tottenham back line that is very good, and Solanke that scores goals against us, and Premier League opposition, and physicality worries me. Also, I think Amorim has got I think Ange has got his team more hyped for this. Going into the final, Amorim is like, it's embarrassment that I'm 16th. I don't want to be 16th. Even if we win the Europa League, it doesn't mean anything. Maybe not winning the Europa League could be better for Man United, because if we win the Europa League, this will mean that 16th in the Premier League becomes acceptable. And he's saying that's not acceptable, because we won the FA Cup last season despite finishing 8th. And then we ignored the fact that we finished 8th because the FA Cup kind of covered that up because we got back into Europe. And Amorim's kind of saying that that's not a good thing. Amorim knows he's safe whether he wins the final or not. Ange, he knows the only way to save his job is to win the final. So maybe Tottenham, with Ange saying you can be on this wall, you can be the first ever, you can be known as the Tottenham group that brought the Europa League back. Even though you finished 16th, you have a chance to not be the worst Tottenham side ever. You have a chance to be the Tottenham side that won a trophy in Europe. Ange knows his job's on the line. Maybe he's going to hype up the Tottenham players more for it. You can be the Tottenham side that do this. You can do that. You can do this. Whereas Amorim has a different approach. So I think going into the game, Tottenham, the attitude, they're going to be more hyped for it. And I felt that in the FA Cup, Ten Hag took Ange's approach, and Man United were up for the FA Cup and we beat City. So I think Amorim's approach is a lot worse than Ange's. And I think Tottenham, in terms of approach, they could be more up for it. And that's what worries me. I think they could have a different attitude going into the game. They know they've beaten us 3 times this season. I think Tottenham will have that confidence there, despite Man City beating us multiple times last season, us beating them in the final. I think the injuries in our backline will let Tottenham feel that they can get at us. The physicality there, that is the one. Solanke worries me. But finals come down to moments. And this is what I think Manchester United have. Tottenham have the better attack. Tottenham have the better defence. But there's no doubt in my mind that Manchester United are going to have the better midfield. Now, when we lost 3-0 to Tottenham at the beginning of the season under Ten Hag, we were run ragged in midfield. Kulusevski, Maddison absolutely embarrassed us, and they will be out. The games under Amorim, the 1-0 defeat in the Premier League was very even. Let's be honest, that was a very even game that could have gone either way, but Tottenham had much better quality. If you looked at the Manchester United bench, it was Lindelof and everybody else on the bench was a teenager. When we played Tottenham and lost 1-0 away, that was a much closer game. So the last time Man United and Tottenham met, it was a much closer game, but there was no Mickey van der Ven, there was no Romero, but also Manchester United didn't have any players. When they met in the FA Cup, Fraser Forster made horrific mistakes, but so did Bayindir. I think Tottenham did enough to win that game. Under Amorim, the games have been closer. Ange's beat Amorim twice. The games have been closer. Ten Hag, we got ran around. Tottenham's midfield ran around us. Those midfielders are out. Ange and Amorim games have been a lot closer. That's something I'm going to look at. And I think sometimes in cup finals, it comes to individual quality. Who, in terms of, with Kulusevski gone, with Maddison gone, the best 2 players on that pitch, because Son is no longer at his best, will be Bruno Fernandes, probably followed by Amad Diallo. Now, I've seen a few people put Brennan Johnson over Amad Diallo in their combined 11s because Brennan Johnson's got better output this season, but output per 90, Brennan Johnson and Amad Diallo are basically the same, with Amad having more chances created because Amad's been injured. For me, sometimes it's about the quality. Man United don't have much quality. And look, Solanke for Højlund, there's levels there, for sure. The centre-backs, there's levels. Lindelof compared to Van der Ven, there's levels there. But sometimes it's just about a moment. Sometimes you could play crap But Bruno Fernandes is capable of scoring that worldy goal. I look at Real Madrid when they've not played well in finals, but they've won. Liverpool played Real Madrid out the park in the final, but Real Madrid Courtois masterclass. Oh, Anana's in goal. Oh, Anana's in goal. Just remembered Anana's in goal. Yeah, Tottenham are going to win. But Courtois masterclass. It's one of those. But I think if there's a game winner, it's an Ahmad or it's a Bruno. If there's a game winner, there's no Maddison, there's no Kulusevski. If there's a game winner, it's an Ahmad or Bruno. And sometimes these games come down to game winners. You know, you look at PSG. Arsenal can say that they deserve to win versus PSG because they had 5xG to PSG's 3, but only scored 1 goal from 5xG because Arsenal don't have players that can put the ball in the back of the net and they're game winners. Martin Odegaard, Saka's Arsenal's only game winner, whereas United have Ahmad and they have Bruno. And sometimes in finals, when you've got Ahmad and you've got Bruno and you've got Casemiro, who's been unbelievable in the Europa League, unbelievable. He's the whole reason we came back versus Lyon, by the way. He got like the assist for all the goals. United have that edge. United have that edge. United have the game winners. United have the Brunos. United have the Amads. But United have an absolutely atrocious backline that Solanke would absolutely rinse. They've got a Nana in goal, and I think Vicario has been shaky this season, but a Nana is a lot worse. It's a tough one. I'm interested to see Ange's approach. I think Ange could go with 4-4-2 with Bentancur and Basuma in midfield. You could have Solanke up top with Son and Odegaard and Tell on the wings. I think he could go with 4-4-2. I think Ange could do something different. It's very hard to predict, but I don't think it's going to be a 3-0 battering. I think it's going to be 1 goal in it. I think somebody's going to score that goal in the last 20 minutes, and that's going to win it. If it goes to penalties, please no. But if I'm going to make a prediction, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes to step up and win it for Man United is what my heart says because I'm a Manchester United fan. My head says that Solanke's going to rinse the defence and we're going to lose 2-0. It's hard to predict. I'm worried, but I'm going to go with my heart. Bruno, Casemiro, please beat Tottenham. Anyway, this was just a raw video, like no notes, no nothing about the Europa League final. Like my thoughts as someone that's watched Manchester United, someone that's watched Tottenham. It's so hard to predict, but both teams are just as crap as each other. We'll have to wait and see. We'll know next week.